Hey guys, in today's demo I'm going to show you how to use the new functions in the audit screen. So you'll start off in the recycling inventory detail page. In this page you'd probably click into your audit tab just to kind of organize the various lots that are available, and you would take a look at one of the labels on the pallet. So we're going to look at this pallet number 59058 and we're going to hit audit. Now during the audit process, this is your screen. It's a mobile-friendly screen that can be used on a tablet, laptop, etc. You could note that there's a bunch of changes that have recently happened. So you have the standard view, which is basically the standard receiving process. Type in your make, model, various details. You have your quick scan. With this quick scan, you have the functionality of typing in a model, bunch of attributes, and then selecting the next step, and then bulk scanning in the serials. So if you had 50 items and they were all the same, you could pre-configure the model, the conditions, the attributes, and start scanning the serial numbers to receive the product in. And then typically if you have non-serialized assets, potentially you have a bunch of cables, you could put in wire, weigh it up, and this would help you maintain your mass balance against your remaining weight. So under standard view, note that there's a data collection tab, there's a data erasure portion, and a grading portion. So if we look over on data collection, we're going to input in a laptop, so we're going to try E7440. So after I type that in, I'm going to select the model. You can see all the various attributes are appearing here. So all these attributes are custom to your instance. So in the system settings, if you wanted to change, add, make additions, you would do that via the system settings and make sure you're editing the attribute set for laptops. So in this example, I'm going to scan a UID. You would scan your serial number. Choose a condition, potentially select a pre-existing location by scanning it, or you could generate a pallet location where you're going to place all these laptops. And if you wanted to fill in all the details now, you can, and fill out the data erasure and the grading. Now the final step you need to choose if you're going to keep it via the ITAT steps, which are the further processing, or if you're going to send it to resale or scrap. So depending on contract requirements and rules set by the sales rep would indicate the required fields. So you could see here I selected resale, and optical drive and hard drive size were required. Typically there will be a lot more requirements before you're sending it to resale, but one of the benefits of keeping it in the data collection steps or any of these ITAT steps is there really aren't any requirements, and it just places your items into the ITAT phase where you could pick up the assets via the asset grid. So we're going to be posting another video on the assets grid, so please stay tuned. Now I'm going to receive this item in. I'm going to hit add. So as you hit add, it's going to print a label. You have options to organize that functionality up at the top. You could either hit print reports or page defaults, and this is where you would set up your different printers, your different formats that you're going to print, and if you wanted to automatically print after a confirmation, or don't print. So now I'm going to select that item again. Now you have a couple functions here. You can go to data erasure. So if you checked and you said, hey, there is a drive present and you wanted to collect that parent-child relationship, you could fill out those details here if you have them. Select an employee, select the date of the wipe. So this would all fill the data destruction report that we've recently implemented. Now once you do that, if you have multiple drives, you can continually add them, or you can remove them in this fashion. Now note we have integrations with Blanco, EPS, and WipeQ, and SoftThinks is coming down the pipeline. But if you do have those integrations enabled, based off this UID link, or when you hit import assets, this would actually synchronize, bring back majority of the data, as long as the mappings are set up correctly, and data erasure fields, if data erasure jobs have been completed, would have automatically populated these fields also. So that's something to note. Now, if we go to grading, you're going to note that we're working on a laptop. If your system's set up or configured, you're going to have very specific questions to laptops about the grading. So these are all customizable via the grading devaluation templates. And right now this is a test system, so you can see here we're looking at case condition. And when I start selecting these different values, you can see here the final grade is automatically changing based off these selections. So it's good to set up these at the fair market value and devaluation templates, because it'll really help the devaluation process during settlement. Now, other benefits of this is all these notes that you're collecting when you're selecting things are going to be included in the settlement for the sales rep. So sales rep will be able to fully see all selections that were done and be able to make a proper devaluation based on what was selected. Once you're done, you're going to hit update, and you can see that this item was updated, it's graded, and then you can move to the next item. So a couple other functions that are useful here. You could select this item if you have, let's say they're all graded the same way, which is probably not likely, but let's just say they were processors of some sort. You could select that item, hit bulk insert, and you could say, hey, I need another 5 of these. And then if you wanted to generate this with a serial number, you just hit generate. But if you wanted the option of scanning the serial numbers, you would uncheck auto generate serial and place your cursor in here and then start scanning. And every time you scan with a carriage key, it would allow the items to input in very quickly. Once done, you're going to hit save, and that's going to bulk add the items. And it'll also validate against duplicate serials in the system. So right now we've received in 6 assets, and you could continue receiving. And you can note that on the right here we have processed weight, weight remaining, how many assets have been scanned into the system, and what's expected to be remaining against the original inputted count at 20. If you want to close that right panel, you could click on Actions and click Summary Hide. So the next thing I'm going to receive in some processors. We'll do some SR00Qs. And you can see here, attributes update based on the category. And we're going to continue this receiving process and place this in a location. And this item we're going to send right to resale. We're going to hit add. So once you're done this process and you've completed all the assets, as long as you're keeping track of the weights properly, you're going to see here the remaining weight of what was left should be close to 0. Now, I'm just going to bulk insert another, I guess, 12 of these. And then we're going to close out this order as a typical audit. So we just received in the additional items. Right now, we've received in 19. It shows us the remaining weight's 27. Now, let's assume there was wire in this pallet. So we're going to go over to Commodities, and we're going to choose wire as a selection here. So let's just say we have, I'll just say power supplies with wire. We're going to type in the weight. We'll say it's 27.6 pounds. I'll put a 0 tear, throw it on a pallet, and you could either send this in for review, or you could consume it and place it in your general work in progress area, and then click add. So right now you can see here the process weight is fully complete at 100 pounds. There's 0 pounds remaining. Now all you have to do is hit complete audit, and it'll give you a summary of what was done with this particular load, and you'll hit complete audit. Now, these items are completely processed, and if you send them into the ITAD phases, you'll be able to pick those up by going to the assets page, and then over here, you'll be able to see all those assets that you received are located here, and you'll be able to pick those up and make decisions based on the type of product it is and decide if you need to do data collection, grading, potentially part harvesting, or sending it directly to resale or scrap. So there's other videos on the assets page, but this gives you a general idea on how to properly use the audit function.